Yo, yo. I don't think anyone's in here yet. That's okay. This was totally last minute. I was actually on the way. Well, not on the way. I was getting ready to head to the post office and I got this message. So I'm going live to see. There we go. Sorry, guys. Sorry for the rambling. The first minute of this, like I said, just caught me off guard completely. I was on the way. I was getting ready to leave for the post office, and I got this notice. I got this message from directly from Fun World saying that there was a major Ghostface surprise coming today at 3 p.m. East, which is about 13 minutes from now. I was not told what the surprise was. I was just told that I could be the one to announce it and to tell everybody to stay locked in at 3 p.m. to all forms of social media, such as Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. So, again, I'm not making any promises. I honestly have no idea what the surprise is. It could be anything at all. But let me say it again. We're being told to pay attention to Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube specifically. Now, Jigsaw JP. Let me bring that comment back up. Sorry, I'm so like I said, I was getting ready to head out the door when I got this, and I was like, so I decided to go live with it after I posted it everywhere. So this is an exclusive, whatever it is. You're getting the heads up from me first that at 3 p.m. there's going to be something massive Ghostface surprise dropped on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. So again, I don't want to speculate. I don't think Jigsaw JP wants to speculate either. But yeah. What's up, Kyle? Kyle says what's up to JP. What's going on, guys? Got about 6 of you in here now. There was about 0 when I started. Like I said, this was completely last minute. Those of you that have been in here, please don't get annoyed if I repeat what's going on several times, because as more people join, they're going to be like, what's going on? I just want to keep everybody filled in. But again, for anybody that just came on, there's going to be a Ghostface surprise, exact words that I was given by RJ at Funworld. There's going to be a Ghostface surprise dropping at 3 p.m. Eastern today, which is in about 11 minutes. And I was not told what the surprise was. I was simply told that I could share with everybody exclusively from me to all of you guys to pay attention to all those forms of social media, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, at 3 p.m. East today, because something was happening. So again, I don't want to let anybody down. I truly don't know what it is, honestly. I have an idea, but I don't know. So I don't want to get anybody's hopes up and say what I think it is and then it not be that. But YouTube, when they're throwing YouTube, it's YouTube. It's going to be some kind of video, I'm assuming. So we're just going to hang out until this happens live. We'll see what it is live here in 10 minutes. Let's see. What is up, mine bro? Ghostface 96. That I appreciate that, and I hope you're right. I hope it's good, because like I said, I have no idea, none, zero. But to get that like last minute, like, hey, Nate, please make this official announcement that there is something Ghostface coming to YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook at 3 p.m. today, and tell everybody to watch. Keep an eye out for what it is. I'm assuming it's going to be pretty freaking good. Happy Wednesday, Jennifer. Anything Ghostface related news is good news. I agree with you on that. I agree. I don't care if it's a new mask. I don't care if it's a new action figure. Anything. I'll take it. But again, Fun World product news doesn't typically pop up on YouTube at a very specific time of day. So I'm thinking it's not a product. I'm thinking it's some sort of video. And again, I'd love to say what I think it is, but I don't want to get anybody's hopes up because I truly do not know. We got about 12 people in here now. Let's see. Roy, sorry, I almost said Ray. Roy, First Scream, free on YouTube for a reason. I didn't know the First Scream was free on YouTube right now. That's cool. But yeah, for anybody that just joined, I was literally told at 2:30 p.m. about 20 minutes ago now, that there was a major Ghostface surprise coming at 3 p.m. Eastern today, which now is in about 7 minutes. And that I was allowed to make the exclusive announcement that everybody needs to pay attention to Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, all those things at 3 p.m. today. And that's why we're all here. And I don't know what it is, honestly. But this is directly from RJ. So it's a good source. And I was told to make the announcement. What am I announcing? We're all going to find out together. I really don't know. Cut too deep. Hey, Nate, feels like Old Town's coming. Yeah, it does. It really does. It's like, wait. Like I said, I was on my way out the door. I was ready to head to the post office and run a couple errands. And I got that message and I just kind of froze and was like, well, I'm going out later because this sounds like it's going to be pretty cool, whatever it is. So, yeah, again, everybody that's been here for like however long I've been live, apologize if I'm just kind of rambling and repeating myself. Just trying to make sure everybody that just got to the stream knows what's going on and why they're here. Even though we really don't know why we're here. We do know, but we don't. And that I'm waiting just like you guys. So apparently here in about 5 minutes, we're going to do it live. We're going to do it live. I'm going to go on YouTube. In fact, I'm going to get that ready right now. And we're going to see what this drop is. So, yeah, again, sorry that I'm rambling. This was just super last minute. I was not at all prepared to go live, but I'm happy to do it. Happy to do it for RJ. Thank you, RJ. Again, without even knowing what it is, thank you for the opportunity to give the exclusive information out there that something is coming at 3 p.m., which is now 4 minutes away. Ghostface 96, kind of off topic. Do you think there's a possibility Funworld will stop producing the EU stamp masks for any reason? You're talking about like the new ones, like these? Just happen to have one right here. I did a video on this guy. This is the 2025 one, which are amazing. My answer to that, I mean, I can't speak for Fun World, but my answer to that would be no. It's I just can't. Even holding it over here, I can smell it. So it smells so good. Again, I don't want to speak for Fun World, but it's my understanding that this is now like this is the mask. Like the ultralights are a thing of the past. This is now your standard basic ghost face mask that you are going to see in Walmart, Target, CVS, Walgreens, Spirit Halloween. Of course, there's all the, as you see behind me, there's always going to be cool variants and stuff like that. But it's my understanding that this is now the standard base model ghost face mask, and that the ultra whites are basically no more. So again, that's my understanding. Obviously things can change, but to answer your question the best I can, I do not believe that they'll stop producing them. I think that, much like all the other versions of the ghost face mask, I think we're going to get variations in them as the years go on, as they need to, the molds get worn down and they have to produce new molds. So there's always little differences here and there where you can tell, like, someone might say the 2025 mold was the best. We could be in 2030 and we're still getting the EUs, but they look just a little bit different. I think that'll change for sure, but I don't think they're going to stop those at all. You read my mind. I made a video, like a silly little video of me basically just huffing that mask when I got it. And it did pretty well on YouTube. And the first thing I thought when I kept smelling it and I was shooting that video was, we need a candle that smells not just a vanilla scented candle. There's tons of those out there, right? We need specific, like whatever they put into the latex to make it smell like that. We need that chemical in wax as a candle. So I agree with you on that. I also love how the mask feels. Oh, let's see. Sorry, messaging my buddy Nick Meese here. He says 1.5 minutes. Yeah, it is about 1.5 minutes. Okay, guys, I'm going to look. I have YouTube open up. If anybody else sees something before I do, by all means, drop it in the comments. But I'm gonna go on YouTube real quick and take a look and see if we can see what's coming. Let's see. It's almost 3 p.m., guys. What's up, Rick W? Okay, guys, it's 3 p.m. I don't know what we're looking for, but let's look. Start searching. Let's see. Not seeing anything yet. Are you guys seeing anything? Again, I was told Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. Okay. Has anybody seen anything yet? Asking Nick if he's seen anything. For you, upcoming. What's going on, Iggy? Now I'm starting to question one. Let me double check those messages. Yeah, it says 3 p.m. Let me check. Kyle says they just released the Fort Nightmare trailer. Okay, well, where is that? Fort Nightmares. Did they just release that trailer, or was it released a little bit ago? Because I was messaged at 2:30 saying to keep an eye on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube for a Ghostface surprise at 3 p.m. But looks like that Frightmare trailer was released like over an hour ago, if I'm looking at it correctly. There was a teaser trailer 8 hours ago for Fort Nightmares. Kyle says it was just released. Why am I not seeing it? It's not that I don't believe you, Kyle. I'm not seeing a trailer for that was like just released. What's up, Hunter Central? So I'm being told that it is the Fort Nightmare Fortnite trailer that 100% confirms that Ghostface is in the game. Fortnite there. I just haven't found the new trailer that dropped. I'm seeing like old Fortnite teasers and stuff from like a day ago. So I guess there's a link. Yeah, they all arrive tomorrow. It's an official Fortnite YouTube channel. All right, let me look that up because I want to see this. Fortnite official. Fortnite videos. Oh, I see. Fort Nightmares 2025 cinematic short 5 minutes ago. Let's see. I'm going to attempt to pull this up. All right. Everybody see that? Let's check this out. Love Scooby-Doo, Jason. There's Ghostface running. Cool. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Stop sharing. All right, guys. So there it was. That was the official Fortnite's 2025 showing Ghostface in action. That's all. I honestly don't play Fortnite. I might try it just to, play as Ghostface, see what that's all about. But yeah, that's it, guys. That was the Ghostface surprise announcement today. So pretty freaking cool that we were given the heads up to be able to see that. Yeah, exactly. I don't play Fortnite, but it's still cool to see Ghostface and stuff anyways, says Ethan6581. 100%. Yeah. Just like I honestly didn't play Dead by Daylight until Ghostface was a character. That was the character that had me go, all right, I got to get this game now. Yeah, Kyle. Yeah, I did know that it was leaked. I feel like that stuff with games gets leaked like all the time. I feel like game stuff gets leaked early all the time. Like if I remember correctly, that happened with Dead by Daylight too. Like I feel like it was leaked that Ghostface was going to be in it before it was officially announced. But it's cool to see it official that he's going to be in it. So yeah, that's cool. Maybe I'll actually try to get in to Fortnite just to check out like Ghostface and the whole, I don't know, that whole Fortnitemare thing seems pretty cool. How fun my husband and kids play. I'll make sure they get Ghostface. Do play Rocket League. I've heard of Rocket League. They leaked that one on accident. Yeah, I don't know. And it's not just Ghostface, guys. Like I just feel like, I just feel like every time there's a new character that's from any franchise, any movie, that's going to be like in Mortal Kombat or Fortnite or Dead by Daylight or any of these games, I feel like it always gets leaked beforehand. But 4K V-Bucks ready for him. There you go. See? Cool announcement. Hey, while we're here, what's going on with Scream 7, everybody? Is everybody still excited for it? I'm definitely excited for it. I haven't done a lot of videos on it just because I feel like there's enough channels that do the whole speculation thing, if you know what I mean. And I don't have a problem with that. Like, I'm fine with that, but I'm more like, let's wait till we have something official and solid that we can discuss. That's what excites me. I love a good rumor every now and then, about Scream. Not spoiler, but the rumors and the what ifs. Like I love that stuff. I do. But I've just never been one to kind of, make 1,000 videos just speculating when, you know, we really don't have any idea what's coming. You know, of course, there's a couple things out there that's confirmed, but you know, there's also a lot of rumors and stuff, and that are probably not true. So that's why I kind of held back on Scream 7 content for the time being, just because, you know, I will absolutely be doing several videos when the first trailer drops, because then we'll have something real to analyze and talk about and discuss. Yep, very excited. Kyle is stoked. They want that trailer. Oh, Apollo Balboa, 1985. Love that name. Nate, do you believe this film will ultimately be connected to the original trilogy more than the other films? I do. I mean, I think clearly there's a reason that, and I won't get into specifics or rumors or, you know, any possible spoilers, but I think there's a reason that the we'll call them deceased characters from, or the deceased characters that are confirmed to come back in this movie in some way, shape, or form are so far from the original trilogy. I think there's a reason for that. So I do think that it's going to be more connected to the original trilogy. Also, you know, Kevin and a couple other people involved, like really involved, like the writers and stuff, you know, they've said, you know, they can't say much, but, you know, they've kind of said, like, guys, there's a reason. We found a reason to have Sidney back and be the focus this time. You know, there's a, it's not just a, well, let's have Sidney back just to have her back. You know, they've said that they've found a reason for her to be the focus once again. So there be no, like, you know, and again, not that I had any issues with it, but, like, you know, she wasn't really the focus of 5. Obviously, she wasn't even in 6. But, you know, she was in 5. She just kind of wasn't the focus. It was just kind of like, you know, the killer's motive was kind of like, yeah, we want this to happen. We're going to kill all these people. And you know what? While we were at it, we decided to get, you know, Sidney back here too. So she wasn't really the focus. Like, the goal of the killers in 5 was not to, you know, kill Sidney for whatever reason. But it sounds like that's going to, once again, for the first time since 4, be the goal. And so yeah, I think the motive will absolutely have something to do with the original trilogy. And I also don't I don't think that it's going to be another case of, like, oh, I'm, you know, so and so's brother and you killed my sister. You know, I don't think it's going to be that again. I think that the writers are pretty smart in knowing that the fans are kind of, like, tired of that. You know, we had that already with, like, Mrs. Loomis. We had it with Roman, kind of. You know, we had it with you know, Scream 6. You know, it was like, oh, well, you know, you killed, you know, our brother and my son Richie, and now we're gonna kill you. Like, I think they know that they're kind of, people are kind of like, okay, you've done this a million times. So I don't think it's going to be something like that. I do think it's absolutely going to be connected to the original trilogy, though, in some way, shape, or form. The killer and the motive. Hope Scream 7 super brutal. I do too, and that's interesting because, you know, a lot of the cast has said in interviews that Ghostface has never been so brutal, but this movie. Now I know they say that every time that new movie comes out, but Ghostface was pretty freaking brutal in 5, and he was really brutal in 6, really brutal in 4 as well. But a lot of the cast of 7 have said, "Oh, Ghostface is so brutal in this; it's like the most brutal he's ever been." But then you have like Kevin and Nev saying, like, we really wanted to dial back on like the extreme graphic gore and make it like really scary again. Which all those things are fine. I personally think you can have both. I think it, and this isn't me like talking like, oh, Kevin and Nev, they're crazy. They don't know what they're talking about. But I think a lot of times, like, because there are movies that strictly rely on gore, and I do think that those movies should exist and there's a place for them. And I don't think people necessarily watch them to get scared. I think they watch them to get grossed out, which is a whole other type of experience, and can be just as fun. But I think people a lot of times unfairly kind of like, because there are movies out there that exist that are like, they don't really rely on scares, they rely on gore. That's what they want. They want you to squirm in your seat. I think people sometimes unfairly think that means like, oh, well, the movie's not scary, it's just so much gore, it's just gory, there's nothing scary about it. I disagree. I think you can have both. Absolutely. I think you can have a movie that is extremely brutal and graphic and gory and also be really scary at the same time. And again, look at, again, when Kevin says that, like, oh, I just wanted to dial back the violence. It's like, Scream 1 still probably pretty close to being the most violent in the franchise. And that's the one that you wrote, Kevin. Like, you're the one that came up with like gutting teenagers and hanging them from trees. I mean, no other Scream movie has shown somebody gutted hanging from a tree and having the parents find the body. I mean, that's graphic, that's gory, that's brutal, and it's scary. So I think that's a prime example that, like, I think you can do both if you do it right. I do not know when we are getting a trailer. All I can say is I've been told it is coming soon, for sure, that the trailer is currently being worked on, and it will obviously be finalized at some point, and we'll get to see it. Cut too deep. YouTube and podcasts get oversaturated with film. Yeah, exactly. And that's why I try to stay away from it. Again, it is what it is. If that's your thing, awesome. I have no problem with people doing it. It's just not my thing. And I think that there is enough of that out there that my channel does not need to have, 7 videos a week of just, I mean, honestly, like clickbait headlines, like, oh, click here, Sidney Prescott's daughter, whatever it is. And then you watch the video and it's them rambling for like 20 minutes and they end up not even really saying anything about what you clicked on. Scream 7 leaked opening scene, and then there's no leak, there's no nothing. So yeah, that's all fine. People that do that, great, but that's not what I want to do. I think there's just too much of it out there as it is. Yes, yeah, that's actually Adam Reaper. That's actually why we're here. We were here to see that trailer drop live. Tim is here. Ghostface UK is in the house. Mr. Nate, hope you're good. I'm doing great, Tim. Hope you're doing well over there. We got to catch up soon. Got to have me on one of your streams again soon. Lots to talk about. I I don't think Scream 6 was overly brutal or gory. That was totally fun. I agree too. That was another thing when everybody's like, oh man, Ghostface was, and I'm talking about people, like Matthew Lillard saying like, I don't understand the violence and it's so violent and Ghostface has a shotgun. It's like, yeah, but you were the killer in the most violent movie in the franchise. Like your Ghostface character. And I love Matt. I love Matt Lillard. So I'm not talking down on him either. I'm just saying it's like sometimes I'm like, when's the last time you saw the movie you were in? Okay. Because that was the most brutal. Your Ghostface was literally gutting your friends and hanging them from trees, and then you're talking about, oh, Ghostface shot someone with a shotgun, and that was just the violence is just out of control. It's one thing if you have the issue with the gun violence. I understand that. I understand it's a problem. I'm not trying to get political. I totally get that. 100% get that. But at the end of the day, it's like, guys, really, I think you need to rewatch the movie that you were in before you say how horribly violent Scream 6 was and that it was so unnecessary. Let's say I'd say Scream 4 and 6 are the most gory of the films. The kills in 5 were kind of more brutal in nature, but nowhere near early reactions were saying. Yeah, I can see that. I mean, Scream 4 was pretty brutal. But really, I think it was just, the opening kills were pretty bloodless, in Scream 4. There wasn't a lot of blood at all. I mean, you don't even see the first victim get killed. Obviously, there's the alternate opening, which in my opinion, and I've always said this, is much better than what we got, and was gorier. But the opening kill wasn't that brutal. The only death that was like super brutal was Olivia's, and even that, it was really only super brutal because they painted like they painted the whole bedroom with blood, like the walls and the ceiling and everything and the bed. Yeah, you see her guts hanging out for like a split second, but I don't know. To me, there's way much more blood in Scream 1. I mean, Steve's guts rolling out of his stomach, plopping on the ground beside him. If you watch the director's cut, Casey hanging from a freaking tree with her guts, steam pile at the bottom. Them stabbing like that whole the whole kitchen. The thing was a bloodbath. Oh, what else we got here? Yeah, Scream TV show was pretty gory. Which that's another thing to me. It's like, and again, this is a whole other topic of discussion, but at this point, it's like, what is even the point of the MPAA anymore? It's almost laughable. It's like, even back when Walking Dead was on TV and it was like the most watched show like ever, back when it was good, you could see stuff on there that was worse, way worse than anything you'd see like in an R-rated horror movie in the 80s because the MPAA would cut it. They'd force them to cut all this gore out. Flash forward like 30 years later, 20 some years later, and now you can see stuff just as bad, if not worse, on TV, on cable. And I know that TV shows have ratings and stuff, but at the same time, it's like, who even pays attention to that? I don't, What else? Roy says, guys, I just figured it out. Shaggy and Ghostface were in the Fortnite trailer, so that means that Stu's coming back. JK. Hey, I mean, you're not wrong. Like, we know Stu's in the new movie. We just don't know why or how. I mean, some people do know why and how. I happen to know why, but not going to ruin that for anybody. Oh. The first Scream would probably have been more gory as well if they didn't need to censor. Yeah, but that's the thing too. Like, even the uncut version of Scream, they really didn't cut that much out. I mean, I'm surprised that the MPA even let them get away with what they did show, you know. And that just goes to show you how useless it really is at the end of the day. It's like, what's the difference? Oh, well, you can't show Casey hanging with her guts out for 8 seconds. You can only show it for 6 seconds. What's the what is the purpose of that, you know? Like, oh, you can show this person get stabbed 6 times, but you can't show him getting stabbed 8. 6 is the limit. So you got to cut 2 stabs out. If you're already showing them get stabbed, like, who cares? Yeah, Walking Dead did have some gnarly looking zombies. Ethan. It would be amazing for Funmo to bring back a Gen 1 mold for the 30th anniversary of Scream 96. Love your channel. Thank you. How is the signed Scream 2 mask? You talking about the one? Why am I not pointing at it correctly? Right there? Yeah, it's right back there. I hate the way the lighting, I got to do something about the lighting back there. And it could also be the fact that I have it displayed with like a nice pristine white mask. But when it's back there like that, it looks so dirty and yellow, and it is not that yellow. Now, granted, it's not that white anymore either. I mean, it's an old mask, you know, from Scream 2. And it's changed hands a few times. And it probably wasn't stored that well before I got it. But see, it's not that bad. Like, it's just not that bad. But when it's way back there, for some reason, when I'm doing videos with the lighting, I look back and I'm like, oh my God, that mask looks so gross back there. It looks like brown and yellow. It looks like I don't take care of it. But, you know, as you can see, it's in pretty darn good condition for how old it is and for what it is. For those of you that don't know, this is one of the main hero masks from Scream 2. It's got the Velcro there stitched in. It was signed to Skip, who was the assistant prop master on the film from Wes Craven. That, unfortunately, is fading, but I've been told there's really nothing you can do about that. Just the nature of the latex. But yeah, it is not it is not that badly yellowed. So again, take a look at it up close. Okay. Then I'm going to put it back where it was. Now let's see. Doesn't it look so much worse back there? Like, it looks like a different mask. It looks like it's brown. I don't know. I got to figure something out. Yeah, look at that. Look at it. Look at that. It looks so... It almost looks like an aged mask, like from Scream 6. It's like all just... Yeah, I don't know. We got to fix that. You don't have hope they'll bring back the Gen 1 or 2 ever. Well, I don't really know what to say to that. I think it's possible it'll happen. I think it's possible it won't happen. I think a lot of things would need to be figured out and come together in order for it to happen. And I also think if it ever did happen, it's not going to be something that would be like, oh, the Gen 1s are back, like head to Walmart to pick it up, you know. I think it would have to be something that was like very, like a specific retailer or something would carry it probably. And the only reason I'm saying that is because, you know, again, Walmart doesn't, you know, stores like that, they don't understand the difference. They don't care, you know, to them, like this, if you had this mask and a Gen 1 side by side, they'd be like, what's the difference? It's same mask. It's a Ghostface mask. You know, they wouldn't see a difference. They don't understand. So that's the other thing. I think if it ever did come back, I think it would have to be through like a special retailer that would be selling it as like what it is. Like this is a collector's item, limited thing, whatever. But again, whether or not that'll ever happen, I have no idea. Yeah, once the camera and lighting adjust, it looks a lot better. Yeah, but then back there, right now, it looks like ass. Which scenes was it used in? That one. We know for a fact that it was definitely the mask worn when Ghostface is sort of, I don't know if I want to say a chase scene, but when he's like stalking Gale through like the sound booth and stuff and slamming his hands on the glass and stuff, it's definitely that mask. It was used in that scene for sure. It very well could have been used in other scenes. I've just never been able to match it to other scenes, which again, doesn't mean that it wasn't used in other scenes, and it doesn't mean that it was either. They're really hard to match. I've talked about this a million times before, but you know, the biggest reason is that as we all know, when you're wearing a Ghostface mask, the shape of it changes depending on who's wearing it. Like, how are they wearing it on their face? Are they wearing it way down, high, low, medium? Do they have a big head, a small head? You know, it distorts and changes, which is what's so cool about the mask, but that's what makes it really hard to match. And then of course with the age of the masks, like, you know, there's probably a lot of little things here and there on that mask that may or may not have been there when they shot the movie, which also makes it hard to match. But the biggest thing is just, you know, you're going against like the mask looks a very specific way on somebody's head. So you're watching the movie, you could be holding that exact mask and not even realize that it's it just based off the shape. You could just look at it and go, oh, now the mouse different. And also, you know, you've got like lighting and color correction and stuff, all these things that make the movie look amazing. But it also, you know, you could be holding it. It's true with so many props, you know, like famously, you know, Brad Pitt's leather jacket from Fight Club. It's like a bright in person. It's pretty freaking red. Now on camera in the film, it looks dark, like blood red. Well, that's because the way the cameras that were used and the lighting, the jacket had to be a certain color for it to appear blood red on camera. So that happens a lot of times because things just don't look the same in person as they do on camera, especially film cameras and the film lighting and stuff. So a lot of times, I believe that was a thing with like in like the Halloween community with like the Michael Myers coveralls. Like for years there was like a debate over what color the coveralls in the original actually were. Because everybody thought they were a certain color because that's what color they looked on screen, but in reality they were a different color. That happens all the time. Probably a little bit less now that, you know, pretty much every production uses digital cameras now, so it's a little bit different of a process. But like with film especially, you know, if they wanted someone like, oh, I want this character to have a bright red jacket, sometimes you couldn't just go out and buy a bright red jacket because it might look dark purple on camera. So they'd have to figure out, and that's where the camera tests come into play for the wardrobe, what color of jacket looks the color that we want on film, not in person, but on film. Yeah, exactly. That mask back there looks like some dirty gray brown. But yeah, when I brought it up, it was nice and white. Oh yeah, Flash Gordon, rest in peace, Craven something scary. Yeah, that was That was shocking when I got that news. Still hasn't fully sunk in. I mean, Steven Craven, whatever you want to call him, he was just such a nice guy. He was one of the best guys in that community, in this community, and had a channel. I mean, he was just the nicest guy. He accepted everybody. He was nice to everybody. He stayed away from any and all drama. When you're talking to him, he really made you feel like, you were like his best friend, like that he's known for years. This is my best buddy, Nate. He's here. And, he'd thank you like multiple times for sharing your time of your life with him for his channel. Just one of the nicest guys in general, but also especially in this community and on YouTube for videos like that. So yeah, rest in peace. So sad about it. I'm hoping that I'm hearing they are eventually going to do like a tribute stream. I believe his really good friend, the Night Watch Zone on YouTube, who's been taking it pretty hard that Steven passed, but I do believe he's eventually going to do like a tribute stream for Craven Something Scary. So hopefully I'll get to participate in that, because I don't know, I would love to be there and talk about, how nice he was, and, just all the times he welcomed me on his channel, and it didn't matter who you were. I mean, the guy interviewed Chris Landon when he was first hired to do Scream 7. He got Chris Landon on his channel to talk to him about Scream movies and stuff. And, then it's like 2 weeks later, he has me on his channel, and he treated me the same way he treated Chris Landon. Like, you would have thought I was Chris Landon, the way he, he was such a nice guy. So yeah, rest in peace, Craven Something Scary. I know when we all go see Scream 7, we're going to be thinking about you. Super bummed. Obviously, movies are like not that important when it really comes down to it, and the important things in life. But I'm really bummed that he's not going to get to see that movie. I mean, he was so excited about it. So rest in peace, my friend, and hopefully we'll get to chat about you on a live stream soon. Even if they bring back the Gen 1 mold, it would still look different and have different qualities. The vinyl wouldn't be the same. They likely wouldn't have the hand-cut eyes. I agree with you that nothing's going to look exactly like it, because the mold's long gone, that original mold. I know they can do amazing things these days. They can get the best copy of a Gen 1 that exists, and they can 3D scan it, and they can have a mold made from that 3D scan. But still, I think it's just, that original mold was sculpted by hand in China. And, that mold's long gone. So I think they'd be able to make something close, like really close, with like 3D scanning and stuff like that. But yeah, of course, it's not going to look complete. And, honestly, I don't think anybody would want them to look completely identical, because then you got that, well, now we can't tell what's what. You know what I mean? If they made it exact, then you've got people that are, well, now we don't know. Like, someone could just buy one of these and then say it's an original and try to get $3,000 for it or whatever. So I think there would definitely be something different about it intentionally for that reason. As far as the hand cut eyes go, yeah, I mean, I'm sure they could make that happen, but it would cost a lot. It would cost a lot to have somebody hand cut all the eyes. I would love for Gen 1 to come back, but realistically, I don't think it will ever happen yet again. Fun World's made many things happen. Yeah, See, that's what I mean. They've done a lot of stuff the last couple years, especially that a lot of us didn't think they were ever going to do. So just, keep up the hope, it could happen someday. Do I still have, I don't have that production mask that I believe you're talking about. I do have one. It's in a like a, you call it a tote. It's in a tote right now, put away. But I do have one from set that was not modified or used or whatever. But again, it's not that one. I believe you're talking about the original one that I got, I think before the movie even came out. I don't have that one anymore, but I do have another one. Yes, Tim, I completely forgot that you were on this stream. Oh my gosh. I was literally sitting there struggling, thinking, what is his name? What is that guy's name? What is the guy's name that sculpted the original mask? Tim would know. Completely forgot. Yes. Thank you, Tim. Anyone know where I can get a ghost face mask with darker eye meshes closer to the films? Well, what I can tell you about that is that the eye meshes that come stock on the mask, they tend to vary in darkness, and I think it's it's just how it is. They're mass produced. Some of the masks have really dark eye mesh sometimes, some of them don't, some of them are really light. But I do know that for safety reasons, they're generally as light as they can possibly make them, because they have to follow all these safety standards and stuff with these masks. Because, at the end of the day, we see them as these collector's items and stuff. But really, this is a mask that, some kid that's what it's made for. It's made for some kid to buy and wear on Halloween, which is awesome. But, there's safety features and regulations when it comes to stuff like that. Where they can't have like super dark eye mesh, because then the kid can't see, trips over, gets hurt. Now he's suing a company, whatever. So there's that. But I see somebody else said you can modify it yourself. Yeah, super easy to do. And actually, one of the little tricks that I will tell you is that when they did the darker eye mesh for, like, example, like Scream 2 or Scream 3 or Scream 4, they would actually just glue a second layer. So they would leave this stock eye mesh in there, and then they would add a second layer of mesh. And a lot of times what they would use, especially in 4, right here, they would take this hood off a random mask, and they would use that as the second layer. And let me tell you right now, I've seen them, I've held them, I've worn them. You cannot see your eyes through it, and it is hard as hell to see out of it. But again, that's why they have stuntmen do it, because stuntmen are crazy, Yep, right there. Iggy said it before I even saw it. Yep, that's exactly Scream 4 for sure. That's what they did. They just took one of these polyester hoods off of the mask, and they cut their own little pieces of eye mesh out, and they glued it inside over the existing mesh. So there's 2 layers, and it's really dark, and that's what they really used for the close-ups. So you definitely couldn't see the stuntman's eyes underneath. Yeah, RJ did tell me that he passed away. I couldn't remember how long ago that was. But yeah, that sucks, because it's a shame. I mean, I understand why those molds get destroyed. Like, they literally, a lot of times people are like, oh, why do they destroy the mold? Well, they get destroyed by using them. The more you pull the mass out of that, the more worn down it gets, and it eventually just becomes unusable. So yeah, unfortunately there's no way around that. Will I do a video rundown? Yeah, I'll do another one of those. I think I've done one. No, you know what? I don't think I have. I don't think I've done one of like everything in one video. I think I spread it out, but I can do one on everything. Yeah, I'll do that. I'll add that to my list. Yeah. I don't encourage buying bootlegs, especially because now we have like amazing masks readily available at a really good price. But yeah, that almost, uh, in, that almost makes my point of like, these are so easy to see through because they have to be, because Fun World's actually making them to the regulations and standards for a Halloween mask and something that goes on your face. The bootlegs do not follow regulations, so they use really dark eye mesh. And also, one of the things with the bootlegs is that it's like anything else. Like, they're not following the regulations, so you don't know what they're using in the map to put it up against. Something to be really weird. Yeah. If you go through my previous videos, I'm sure at some point I've shown just about everything. There might be a couple things that I never showed, or maybe I just maybe there was a couple things I showed on a live stream and never actually did like an individual video of. The problem with doing like one video, it wouldn't be able to be a stream because the stuff's like all over the place. So for me to try to get it all like in here and do it probably wouldn't work. So it'd be a video I'd have to, pre-record. Like, I'd have to go around to where everything is and film a little segment and then put it all together, which I have no problem doing. I can do that. Scream 4 production masks, you love them. Yeah. Scream 4 production masks are nice. Super nice masks. Yeah, I know the bootlegs aren't as prevalent as they were, but yeah, that was like the really big thing. Like, number one, you want masks like this to keep coming out. Buy those. Don't buy the bootlegs. But number two, really, and this isn't just me like saying this, like, you really don't know what materials and chemicals they're using to make those bootleg masks because they're not following any kind of regulations. So it's like, I wouldn't even want to put that on my face. Yeah, Tem has some bootleg EUs and they still, see, I never owned one, but I'd seen enough videos of people that were like, guys, this smells like if you wore it for 2 minutes, you would pass out and then probably die because you just lay there breathing the fumes in. Would be awesome to see glow in the darks come back. It would. I'm not sure they would be the way that we remember them. It's my understanding that and this wasn't Fun World. This was like the factory that was making them back then, and this was like across the board. This was like a big thing in the Halloween industry that they discovered after years of using this chemical that they would literally just pour into the latex to make the masks. And again, not just Ghostface. I'm just talking Halloween masks in general. When there was a glow in the dark mask, they all used the same chemical that they poured in with the mixture to have it glow. It wasn't like sprayed on, it wasn't applied after, it was put right into the mixture. And this was, all sorts of any company in the 80s, 90s that was making early 2000s that was making any mask that glue in the dark, they were doing the same thing. They were using this certain chemical that they poured in. And as happens in life, after doing it for so many years, they suddenly realize like, oh, this chemical that we're using to make these masks glow in the dark is actually extremely toxic and should not be breathed in, nor should it be touching, your skin. So they had to stop, like everybody, again, not just fun. It was like everybody had to stop. All these mask companies had to stop using that. So that's why, there is still glow in the dark masks, obviously, but they just don't glow the way that they used to, like the old ones. That's why, because that chemical, you just can't have it against your face. She don't smell like vanilla. I don't want her. Ghostface. Tim says, don't forget recent 100% true facts. The ultrawhites are actually halted and stopped in production because it's known that EU masks were always. Yep, exactly. We actually talked about that a little bit towards the beginning of the stream. Tim, someone asked if I thought that Funworld would ever stop making like the EUs. And I said no, because it's my understanding that this is now the standard Ghostface mask, that it's no longer the ultrawhites will not be made, and that this is the new standard. Surprised I'm not the owner of the Sydney Attack mask. Well, if I had a spare $250,000 laying around, I probably would be the owner of it, because I would have participated in that auction and I would have made sure that I won it. Yeah, I tried to get that mask for years and years and years and years. Because for the longest time, nobody knew where it was. It was in Planet Hollywood in Florida on display, and then it wasn't on display anymore. And I mean, I went as far as like reaching out to like head people with the company Planet Hollywood. It's like, where are you guys storing all of your stuff? Like what happens to that stuff? Like my fear was like that to me at the time was something that they would just be like, it's just a rubber mask you can get anywhere here. Like just give it to like one of the employees or something. So I was like, no. Like I tried so hard to track that mask down and never got any answers, never got any luck. Then it pops up at the prop store auction, and obviously, I knew it was going to do really well. I knew it was going to go for a lot, but I didn't know it was going to go for $250,000. I mean, that was a world record. You don't understand that? Like, that was a world record horror prop sale. That was the highest selling horror prop in history. And I believe still is till this day. Obviously, there's props from other movies that have, the Ruby Slippers, like, what, $100 million, something crazy. But for a horror movie, that $250,000 for that was the highest world record, highest horror prop sale of all time. Yeah, the more modern glow is the same as the ASDA glows and the recent Spirit versions and what. Yeah, so obviously, the industry has figured out a way to do glow masks again. It's just done a very different way. So, that unless they come up with some new safe chemical, to make that same really bright effect that we all know and remember, they'll probably never be like that ever again, because again, you just can't pour that chemical into the mold anymore, into the latex, and that's what everybody did. So Why did they switch from EUs to the ultra white masks anyway? Tim. I feel like we both have probably talked to RJ about that at some point. And I'm trying to remember what was said. I honestly can't remember the official reason. But I do obviously remember when it happened. You know, I remembered at first when it popped up, and I started going around the groups and being like, guys, I found this mask at the store, and it's a Fun World mask, but it's like white, like really white, like ultra white, you know. And next thing you knew, everybody was calling it the ultra white mask. And I remember asking RJ back when they first started, you know, for a while there, it was kind of like you could get either or, but then the ultra whites just took over. I remember asking RJ at one point, like flat out, like I was like, what's up with these ultra white masks? And he, RJ was like, I don't know what you mean by that. What do you mean? I'm like, well, that's just the term we call them now. Because they're really bright white. But yeah, I don't remember. So maybe Tim remembers. Let me see. All right, I'm jumping ahead just for a second because I want to get. Tim says the ultra white was more cheaper, standard ghost face mask that could have its price lower. Yeah, that's what I thought. I thought it was basically just like, you know, the stores wanted like the cheapest possible. You know, why pay? You know, why would Walmart pay $4 for this to sell it for 10 when they could pay 50 cents for an ultra white that to them looks the same? It looks exactly the same to them, you know. To them, they don't see the little differences that we see. RJ, yeah, he does still call them ultra whites. And yeah, I did not realize that I was creating a name for a mask that was going to last forever when I said that. It was literally just out of necessity, because this was back like when we're all on like the forums, you know, like the Scream and Ghostface like forums, making like little posts and stuff. And it was not as easy as it is today to like upload photos. You could do it, and I did do it, but it was a pain in the butt. So I'm trying to describe this mask to people. I'm like, no, you don't understand. It's like really white. It's like ultra white. And that's where it came from. Let me go back up really quick. Mint Incorporated. Do I think Fun World's overdoing it with Ghostface masks? Getting ridiculous to all the types of masks, like the Santa Claus. No, honestly, I don't. I'm not just saying that. I really don't. I mean, the way I look at it is the more Ghostface that's out there, the better, because it keeps the character alive. It keeps the brand alive. It certainly, in my opinion, doesn't do anything but help our cause of, you know, wanting to have access to, you know, new products all the time with our favorite character. And, you know, it's kind of one of those things too, where, you know, I've gotten to a point in life where I've just kind of realized, like, listen, not everything's for everybody. You know, like if you see a Santa Ghostface mask on the shelf and you're like, that's stupid, that's fine. Just don't buy it. It's not for you. Somebody else, as soon as you walk away, will go, whoa, a Ghostface Santa mask. I got to have that. And they'll get it and they'll be happy with it. You know? So it's like, you don't have to buy everything and you don't have to like everything. But I do think it's good that there is a plethora of options out there. You know, there's probably people out there that have no interest in owning one of these, you know, but they're going to buy the pink glitter, decked out mask, like they're gonna, or the purple one, stuff like that. Like they're gonna buy a Ghostface mask now because there's a pink one, or because there's a purple one, or because they think the aged one looks cool, or they like the metallic one, so they're gonna grab that. They might have no interest in a standard mask. So that's how I look at it. I don't think they're overdoing anything. I think they're just putting product out there, and customers are buying it. If they like it, they buy it. You wonder where the mask from Jay and Silent Bob strikes back. I wondered that too, actually. We were actually supposed to interview Kevin Smith and Jason Mewes for a as of yet unannounced project. And we still very well may interview them. It just hasn't happened yet. When I say we were supposed to, I mean like we were pretty close at one point, but this was back during COVID, and then like all that happened, and it was a whole big thing. But we still could talk to them for this project. But anyways, I was gonna say I was totally gonna ask that. I was totally gonna be like, do you still have the Ghostface mask that like the the monkey wears in that movie? What's up, Jackie? Yeah, there's the second Scream 6 auctions coming up. I don't know everything that's going to be in it. I've been told that there's not going to be any masks or knives again, but I don't know for sure. I can't guarantee that. We know they had masks because when they showed the catalog for the first auction months ago, there were a handful of masks in there. Nothing aged or anything like that, but there was just a couple of masks that were production masks on set that were in there, and then they pulled them. They pulled the catalog and put the catalog back out, and everything was still in there but the masks. So I don't know what happened, but I've been told like, yeah, we're not auctioning the masks or knives. So could that change? Absolutely. Just going through your comments here, guys. Do you know if the 25th masks are going to be used in Scream 7 or the age mask coming back in Scream 7? How do I answer this? To the best of my knowledge, no. There will be no aged masks in Scream 7. As far as the 25th anniversary masks, that I don't know. It's possible that some were sent to set. But what I do know is the majority, if not all of the masks sent to set were the new EUs, which were then reshrouded. And for the first time, modification history of the masks for the films, the production airbrushed them to give them a little bit more detail and a little bit less glare. They still look white on camera, as I'm told, but just makes them look a little bit more creepier. Yeah. Back to the yeah. Basically, they stopped the EUs because retailers were like, oh, we don't want to carry these masks anymore. They're too much. So you want to, massive order from Walmart. Well, you got to get us cheaper masks. So that was the thing with the ultra whites. Do I think Funworld will make and sell the Scream 7 mask? I doubt they will, since most casual fans won't know. Well, that's tricky because technically the Scream 7 mask is just an EU. So Funworld already sells the Scream 7 mask. It's right here. I'm holding it right now. You can go to Walmart and get one right now for $12. And again, the modification that they did, like the airbrushing and stuff, and making this like matte instead of shiny on some of them, I've been told that that is strictly cosmetic only, so that it looks a certain way on camera and it's not supposed to be like aged the way the Scream 6 masks were. So I don't really think there's anything that Funworld could do. I mean, I guess they could make a version that was like duller, a little bit less dull, or a little bit more dull than these. But again, who's the market for that? You know, the collectors. That's great, but that's not enough to get like, you know, 100,000 orders to a store. So I think the answer is this. This is a Scream 7 mask. Maybe eventually we'll get a tag when the movie comes out. Maybe there'll be a new tag that has the Scream 7 logo on it. But really, in reality, they already do make the Scream 7 mask. It's right here. HN mask used in Jay and Silent Bob must have been a random mask sent over. Yeah, that's what I thought, because I'm pretty sure it was like a... I don't know that it was exactly a Funworld costume from memory, but it was definitely a Funworld style costume that was used in that as well. The random regular Ghostface mask briefly used in Scare. Yeah, you know what's funny? I just watched that movie again a couple nights ago, and I thought the same thing. As soon as I saw that scene, which I always laugh at, I was like, I wonder where that mask is. Somebody has it, I'm sure. What's up, Brett? Good to see you too. I did see the custom Subway mask. That they look pretty good. Those look really good. Are the aged deluxe masks rare? I have no idea. Honestly, I have no idea. I have one. I have a couple of them, I think. But I got those when they first came out. I have no idea. I do know that you don't really see them anymore, you know, in stores. I'm not saying you can't get them online and stuff. I have no idea. Yep, exactly my thoughts, Tim. Could Funworld take EUs and do something to them to make them a little bit less shiny? Of course, but why? What would the point be? You know, nobody's going to order them. Like, no store's going to order them as like the Scream 7 mask. They're just going to want this, and this is the Scream 7 mask. So, your best bet, if you want it to look like it does in the movie, is buy one of these and airbrush it yourself. That darn oil slick mask. Every time that comes up, I'm like, man, I wish they would have released that. I love that. I love that mask. I love it. I love it. I love it. Didn't know the oil slick. Yeah, yeah. I mean, RJ said many times, you know, they designed that mask. They really thought like, oh, you know, retailers are going to love this. And it was not a cheap mask to produce at all. Now granted, when I say that, I mean like, they didn't make like 100,000 of them. They just made a couple samples to show at like the trade shows and stuff where these companies make their orders. But it's my understanding that the process used to make that mask is very difficult and was very expensive, and they basically nobody wanted it. Like, yeah, when it showed up online, all the fans were like, "Oh, the oil slick mask, that's so cool." Unfortunately, like, Walmart's buyers and, Spirits buy, all those companies didn't care. They had no interest in it. So that's why that never came out. My opinion on the Shriek, I know you did last Friday the 13th mask. It's a mask. I mean, it would be cool to have one just for like the history, but it's my understanding is there even any in existence anymore? I feel like I talked to a mask collector, but it might have been Drown Boy. I feel like I talked to Drown Boy about this, and he said like whatever material those were made out of, like they basically just turned, like dried up and turned to dust like over the years. That like, there might, I'm not saying there isn't somebody out there that has one, because it was an actual mask that was, I don't want to say mass produced, but it was a mask that could be purchased in stores at one point. Yeah, it's my understanding whatever they used to make those masks with, they did not last. So Age Deluxes were quite easy to find. Still more out there. There you go. There is your answer. Oh, God. That video? That was 2010, that video. He's talking about the video that I did for Still Screaming for the documentary, which the full video of that segment, because only parts of it appeared in the actual documentary, but the full video of the segment where I show all this stuff is on the channel. No, I don't have. I can't say I don't have any of the masks that I showed, because I showed a lot of them. But I definitely don't have any of the KMBs anymore, which sucks. I talked about this before. Like, that's one thing I regret selling was the KMB masks, especially because I sold the freaking Casey Becker death scene KMB mask, and I didn't even know that that's the one it was until after I sold it. So that's a touchy subject for me. But yeah, I don't still have any of the. I know where they all are. I know who has literally every single one of them. Every KMB mask that was ever made for that movie, with one person. Would be cool to see metallic masks on the EU mold come back. Possibly they can bring back some of the older colors like copper, gold. Yeah, that would be really cool. That would be really cool. Also, like I can't remember if Tim has one or not, but I feel like there was a deluxe gold Ghostface mask that was like super limited. It might have only been like given to certain people, like in giveaways, but it was like a gold mask and it had a deluxe hood that was also gold. I think you have one, Tim, but I could be wrong. But that mask was cool. That was a really cool mask, but I don't think that was ever even intended to be like released to the public. Okay, yeah, that's what I thought. It was Drown Boy that I talked to, and yeah, he pretty much said like they were cheap, like garbage masks that you would probably get at like a dollar store for $1. Who knows what they were made out of? And yeah, they basically all just like rotted over the years. Any chance of Scream 3 Row makes an appearance on the channel again? Yeah, I'll do another video for that. I love sharing that with you guys. You know, that's like my prized probably possession from Scream is Roman's costume, and you know, it's got the bullet holes. There's so many cool details about it. So yeah, I love doing videos on that and showing you guys stuff. Hell of a lot of Scream stuff. You are right, Tim. You are right. Yeah, the gold hooded mask. That's what I was thinking of. Yeah, I can see it in my head. There's pictures out there, but it was just like, I think it was the first time there was a gold mask, a metallic gold mask, but it had this big deluxe hood on it that was also gold. It was so cool. Those masks were so awesome. What else? I'm trying to think if there's anything else to talk about before I hop off here. Yeah, Tim, one of these days we'll have to do like a deep dive. Wait, let me see what you're saying here first. I do have a deluxe mask with bronze metallic. I think that might be what I'm thinking of with yours. Yeah. I just remember it was like metallic and it had a big hood, and that was also metallic, like the same color as the mask. But yeah, Tim, one of these days we'll have to do a video. I don't care whose channel it's on. It just doesn't matter to me, but do a little deep dive into your some of the more unique masks that you have that you can actually show. That I think that would be awesome. We've all seen these a million times. We've all seen Gen 1s a million times, even though they're the gold standard. Everybody wants that, but I think we should do a little deep dive into some of the kind of unique masks that you have in your collection. I think that would be a lot of fun. Exactly. That's exactly what I'm thinking. There we go. Kyle's clearing his schedule for that stream, so we'll have to have a discussion at some point soon here, Tim, talk about that and figure it out. Like I said, I'm happy to do it on your channel. Just join you on your stream. That'd be perfectly fine with me. I just think it would be cool. Let's, just do one where we just talk about all these different types of masks and just answer questions and, chit chat. Yes, class will be in session, Kyle. You'll have a front row seat. Front row seat. All right, guys, I'm going to wrap it up. It's been an hour and a half. This has been fun. Did not expect this stream. I didn't intend to do a stream at all today. But I figured maybe it was going to be 20, 30 minutes tops. I could go on for 10 more hours. So, I got to cut it off at some point or I'm not going to get anything done. I do still have to run to the post office today, which is what I was doing before I hopped on here for the surprise announcement. And yes, Iggy, it was fun for me as well. Always a pleasure. Cut too deep. Thank you. All right, guys. Thanks to everybody joining this. And one more thing here. Oh, yeah, absolutely. We're going to get more Scream 7 streams as we get closer. I have a feeling when that trailer finally drops, there's going to be a lot of streams. So always good to see Nate stream. Thank you very much. Good Face Royalty, Nate. Good to see you. I always hate when the stream comes to an end. Thank you, Tim. Listen, I love sharing this stuff with you guys. I love talking about this stuff, as you know, which is why I could just go on forever and ever and ever and ever. But I promise we'll do this again super, super soon. And yeah, it sounds like there's going to be a lot more to talk about very soon. So, all right, guys, peace. Take care. Thanks for hanging out with me.